Hey everybody, welcome to Gardenish, or welcome back to Gardenish. Today we are in the greenhouse, which is a giant mess at this point, but it's going to get changed. It's probably going to get moved. Things are going on. So I'm not worried about all that. What I am worried about is this. Today we're going to attempt to make the infamous seed snails. If any of you have been living under a rock and have not heard about a seed snail, it's basically some sort of material that is preferably waterproof. You have a long layer of material, you throw out a layer of soil, you roll it up so it looks like a snail, you button it up, whether it's tape or twine, and then after that you pop your seeds in there and you grow as many as 50 plants in one condensed area. And I think that's the biggest draw of it, is that you can grow a lot of plants in a very small space. So we're going to try and do this today. I've got, almost spilled my water. I have got a ton of plants, a ton of seeds that I want to turn into plants, and I don't even know which ones are going in my seed snail yet. So let's do this whole process from start to finish. You're going to watch me from the get-go, and we're going to see the pros and cons of doing this. So let's start this. Okay, so one of the things everyone on all these different videos that I've watched, you leave a little bit of room at the top, but you want to go all the way down to the bottom. But the problem is as you roll it up, you're going to start losing soil out the bottom. So we're going to leave a space on both. And then what the intention of this is you're going to bottom water it. So you want the soil, basically I'm going to make sure the soil settles down to the bottom in my tray. And that way when I water my tray, and I'll show you the tray here in a minute, when I water the tray, it'll suck up through the bottom of the seed snail. And it'll work. I think it's going to work. I've watched a lot of videos and they all have different variations. They all use different situations, I've seen people use feed sacks. I've seen people use parchment paper, which parchment paper is not very successful from what I've noticed, which makes sense that it would break down and the paper falls apart. I've seen people use bubble wrap. My only problem with bubble wrap is it's going to be so thick already when you roll it. You're just going to wind up with a giant, I'm going to say a giant chode of a seed snail, because it's going to be all, dang it, it's going to be all bubble wrap. So this foam, I think, is one of the best scenarios that I've watched people do with theirs. So I know you want a decent layer of soil, and we're going to lose some out the top and the bottom. So you don't want to do this somewhere like your kitchen table without any protection, but that's why I'm out here in this messy greenhouse, because it doesn't matter if I spill it. And I also have on a black sweatshirt because it's going to be a mess. All right. And you'll notice it holds it's not squishing water out, but it holds its shape when you squish it with your fist. And I think that's a pretty good consistency. That's the same consistency I would use for seed starting anyway. So that's intentionally, that's all we're doing is seed starting. It's just in a different manner. And this is going to allow us to start a lot more seeds in a smaller footprint. Okay. All right. I think that's good. Let's roll it up. Let's see what happens. And I think I'm going to roll this way because of this overlap situation. Well, that went well. See, we're starting to drop out the bottom here, or out the top, whichever one that is. And that's okay. They're both ends are starting to lose soil. But that is, oh, that's got some weight to it. All right, I'm gonna get my twine out because I didn't do that yet. Oh no! Ah! It's all right. We got this. We'll get it together and then we'll really put it together. I should have had this underneath here. There you go. Lesson number whatever it is. Make sure if you're using twine, you're already preset. All right, where are we at? Oh no. Oh, this is so bad. All right. Okay, so redo. Now that I've completely turned that into a disaster, we're gonna roll from the other way and see if that makes it any better. Because I think this, if these were one piece, that would be different. But because they are two separate pieces, it did not like that transition at all. So let's go this way. And now I also have my twine underneath for the attachment when that time comes. Okay, so there's that transition happening right there. Now we're just gonna keep on rolling it into it, because the other transition was on the inside, so we don't have to worry about that second one. All right, still losing it out, but that's okay. Let's tie this baby up. I'm probably gonna tie it in two places, but let's at least get it together in one so we can start adding seeds. Actually, we'll do that. All right, let me get a tray. Actually, I'll use this tray. This is one of my fun ones, but that's okay for now. Put it in there so we don't lose any more soil. And I'm going to add another tie. Another tie to this one, so we've got it double wrapped here. Okay, let's flip it. All right. Okay. Seed snail. See what we're seeing here? We got dropping out the bottom, which that's no good. I'm gonna tighten that up just so we don't lose any more than we have to. Just button that down. Okay. Now, this is where all your seeds go in the snail itself. This is why it's called a seed snail. That looks nice. Looks real nice, Clark. All right. So now, let's see, what seeds do we want to put in here? Huh? What do y'all think? Let's check it out. Let me see what I got. Okay, I've made my decision. We're going to go with some dwarf sunflowers. They're called dwarf sunspot sunflower. And it's one of my packs that is a full pack of seeds, so I am going to put as many in there as I possibly can. They're easy to grow. They give a 10 to 12 inch diameter sunflower head, and it's filled with edible gray striped seeds. So that's cool. We'll see what we come out with this. One thing about sunflower seeds, they recommend you soak them, at least when you're doing microgreens with them. It just softens that seed and allows for better germination. I'm not worried about that here because I'm going to be soaking these down with the spray bottle on top so the soil doesn't go too dry. And like I said, since they're going to be inside, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not worried about spacing at this point because if they get too crowded, we will just undo the seed snail and put them in pots, or by that time it might be time to put them in the ground. So Ooh, that's like a danger zone right there. We'll put another twine around that. All right. What? I'm gonna put this. Go. That's it. So, a couple things about these seed snails. I've seen in other videos where, like I said earlier, they will use materials such as feed sacks, which is great because they're waterproof. Parchment paper falls apart. Cardboard ends up falling apart. Bubble wrap, like I said, you wind up with this big giant fat seed snail, which takes up more room width-wise than it needs to. I mean, it's a great material to reuse, but do you have that much room? I don't personally, so this worked out great. I actually didn't count how many sunflower seeds went in there. I'll have to recount and put that number up here on the screen, but it was a lot. There was a lot in there. Otherwise, I'm going to take up like probably this whole tray with, you know, seedling starts. And this is just one. I'm going to label this and put on there that this is the dwarf sunflowers. And then I'm done. One thing people do that seems to be a failure also is they will use burlap. Don't put burlap as your main source of material, because what happens is when you go to unroll it, all of your roots are connected and intertwined in that burlap. And what a nightmare, because now you're disturbing your roots and you're causing trauma to your plants that have already started growing, and they're going to be stressed out if they even make it through some of that transplant process. Let's see. Any kind of I know foam, this foam packing, people are probably going, oh, that's so bad for the environment. No, you know what? This 30-foot roll is going to last me a long time, and I'm going to be able to use this original roll multiple times before it falls apart. So I'm not worried about that part. Packing paper, you know, the brown packing paper that comes in like your Amazon boxes and that's a great way to reuse that paper, but you're gonna need to wrap it in something that's waterproof, because that paper is gonna break down also, just like cardboard. You know, it's just another form. It's all a paper product. Paper breaks down with water. So I don't know, that's really all I got. Tape, people use tape to tape these things together, but apparently when the material gets wet, the tape doesn't stick. So that's a fail. I'm not using tape. That's why I'm using twine. And oh, we're gonna go ahead and just mist the top of this, so they're ready to go. I'm using my crappy, listen to that, it's so annoying. And sometimes it doesn't like the spray, but I'm just misting them down. Let's get in that corner, that danger, remember that danger zone corner we got? But I'm just gonna set them in place, and what's gonna happen, these babies are gonna grow. We're gonna get a really good root structure on them, and the next place they're going is out in the garden. They're gonna be thriving once they get out there. So I think that's all I got. I hope that's all I got. I hope I don't remember anything else after I've already told you guys about all this. But we'll do a follow-up video here, and I think I'm gonna throw some sweet peas in one, see how it does. I might cut one of those pieces in half and then roll that up for the sweet peas. I don't know. There's all kinds of things we can do here. Oh, I also want to try and take some of my pepper plants that are already started inside, and I want to transplant them to a seed snail roll, because that's going to take up a lot less room. See what I'm thinking? Yeah, the only thing you got to be careful if you're going to do something like carrots. I think I'm going to do carrots. They say don't plant carrots, rutabagas, any kind of root crops. You don't want to plant and have to transplant, because when you mess with their roots, they don't like that and they get stressed out and probably won't make it. I'm going to try it. Let's see what happens. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, I've changed my plans, guys. I'm using a bucket. This bucket is going to hold these 3 because I don't have time to do any more today. We got hockey tonight. So, I've got my dwarf sunspot sunflowers, my rainbow blend carrots, which we're gonna see if that happens and if it transplants. It's just a trial and error thing. So I've already got carrots out there in the garden, so got that. And then here's our sweet peas. Got them in. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna keep them under the lights once they get growing, and give them a couple weeks, and we'll see what we need to do next. So, thanks for being with me on this noisy afternoon, and I hope everyone's having a great day. If I come up with anything else, I'll let you know. And you have any good tips or tricks, put them in the comments, and look for part 2 on this, because we'll see what's going on next after a couple weeks. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day. Be safe.